Hello students, I'm Dr. Himanshu Kandpal, Assistant Professor English, Government MS College for Women, Bikaner. In this video, we are going to focus on Elizabethan prose which flourished during the period of Queen Elizabeth. The Elizabethan age refers to the period of Queen Elizabeth's first reign. The period was marked with vigorous intellectual thinking, explorations, adventure, and advent of the Renaissance spirit. All these factors left a great influence on the literature of the age. We can see there are several aspects of the Renaissance. The new learning is one. The others are reformation, the growth of the nationalism, the exploration of the world. And intimately connected with the Renaissance are the invention of printing and the spread of education. We must carefully avoid the error of limiting what is to be understood by the Renaissance. It is not to be identified, for instance, with the new learning, but it embraces that and all the changes which were brought about. It is the spirit which was the motive behind them all. English prose took significant strides in the Elizabethan age. Stimulus in this direction was given by the work of the translators who familiarized. Much of the translation was done during the Elizabethan time, and this was the reason that the reading public was familiarized. They become familiar with Spanish and Italian romance and short stories. A lot of prose works with theme ranging from Platonic idealism to realism and romance were created. Romance dominated all types of literature. The romantic quest in literature is for the remote, the wonderful, and the beautiful. All these desires were abundantly fed during the Elizabethan age, which is our first and greatest romantic epoch. On the one hand, there was the revolt against the past, whose grasp was too feeble to hold in restraint the youth of the Elizabethan age. On the other hand, there was a daring and resolute spirit of adventure in literary as well as in the other regions, and most important of all, there was an unmistakable buoyancy and freshness in the strong wind of the spirit. It was the adherent youth of English literature, and the achievement was worthy of it. Though the poetical production was not quite equal to the dramatic, it was nevertheless of great and original beauty, as can be observed from the disputes of the time. The passion for poetry was absorbing, and the outcome of it was equal to expectation. So we know that this age was probably dominated by poets and dramatists, and Shakespeare is considered as one of the greatest dramatists of the age, because we can say that Shakespearean stage is the stage of the highest development during Elizabethan times. The result is fullness, freshness, and grandeur of style unequaled in any other period of English literature. Yet here we are talking about the prose writers of the age. The most important prose romance of this period is John Lyly's Euphues and the Anatomy of Wit. He repeated the success in Euphues and his England. Then came Sir Philip Sidney's Arcadia. Is also a it is also a pastoral romance. Arcadia is famous for its refined and ornate style as well as detailed pen portraits. In the Elizabethan age, there was a flood of short prose pieces on religion, politics, and literature. We can see the short prose pieces on the topics such as religion, politics, and literature. They can be found in abundance. Pamphlets became very popular during to the availability of cheap mass printing. As printing was introduced in England, it became cheap to print anything in form of pamphlets. English pamphleteering was fresh and full of vigor. Notable pamphleteers of the age include Robert Greene. He was a dramatist, poet, and pamphleteer who wrote 25 works which established him in the literary circle of the time. His short story, The Coney Catching Tracts, became very famous along with his work Friar Bacon and Friar Bungie. Thomas Delany was known for his realistic prose fiction. Though basically he was a pamphleteer and ballad writer, however, his novel The Gentle Clough also established him as a successful fiction writer. His narrative is devoted to the glorification of craft, weaving, and shoemaking. Thomas Dekker, dramatist and writer of prose pamphlets, is known for his lively depiction of London life. He has given not novels but social studies, and the best of them is the Gull's Hornbook. So we can say that the literature of the Elizabethan age was not entirely based on imagination. Due to Renaissance and the other social, political, and religious causes, literary works were also based on intellectual and artistic themes. Francis Bacon, the first prose writers of the times, made a valuable contribution to the development of the English prose. Bacon published the first edition of his essays in 1597. Terseness of expression and epigrammatical brevity are the most striking quality of Bacon's style. Bacon's essays are brief and full of condensed, weighty, antithetical sentences which have the qualities of proverbial expressions and are notable for their precision and clarity of phrasing. Many writers focused on writing historical chronicles. Chief among them were Walter Raleigh, History of the World; Francis Bacon, History of the Reign of Henry VI; Fox, Acts and Monuments on Books or Martyrs; and Raphael Holinshed's Chronicles of England, Scotland, and Ireland. At a time when the spirit of adventures was strong, the literature of travel also naturally flourished. It also became popular during this time. Richard Hakluyt's principal navigations, voyages, and traffics and discoveries of English nations is the best example of this genre. In this field of theology, a great deal of important work was done. Richard Hooker of the Laws of Ecclesiastical Polity is a sober, dignified, and closely reasoned defense of the Church of England. His books remains a standard work of theology and is at the same time a classic of English prose. Development of literary criticism in the Elizabethan age shows that people were beginning to be interested in the forms and principles of literature as in art. In the age of Elizabeth, the critic turns to the classic for their guides and morals. They were chiefly concerned with three topics. Firstly, the status and value of poetry was taken into consideration. Gasson attacked an immoral attacked poetry as immoral in his puritanical The School of Abuse, and Sidney replied in his famous Apology for Poetry. Second, the critics laid stress on the importance of classical models. Finally, there was a controversy over the merits and demerits of rhyme. Samuel Daniels, famous A Defense of Rhyme, asserted the right of every literature to its own customs and tradition. Other similar works of some importance are William Webb's Discourse of English Poetry and George Putnam's Art of English Poesy. Thus, we can say that Elizabethan age was a period of great literary activity and prolific writing. English prose of the times became the popular medium of amusement and instructions. Unlike that of poetry, the style of prose enjoys of steady development continued from the previous age and maintained through the Elizabethan age. Euphuism, which appeared early in epoch, was a kind of literary works incidental to early growth, and it quickly passed away, leaving the general body of English prose healthier than before. There is an increase in the raw material of prose in the shape of many foreign words that are imported. There is a growing expertness in sentence and paragraph construction and in more delicate graces of style such as rhythm and melody. The prose of Hooker and Bacon represents the further development of the time. Prose style has yet a great deal to learn, but during Elizabethan age it was learning fast. This is all about the prose of Elizabethan age. Thank you.